Good morning, everybody. So, this morning we are going to do a 15-minute core workout. It is going to be a core burner, so feel free to modify as needed. Go down to your knees, or I'll give some modifications as well. So, the reason that I'm doing this video is that I have a lot of riders right now that are competing in barrel racing and they have really powerful turning horses. So, those horses are kind of getting them thrown off balance a little bit, maybe forward, backward, but mostly side to side. And what controls that really are these slings that go from your left shoulder to your right hip and your right shoulder to your left hip, and then in the back, the same thing. So we really want to focus on controlling our forward back movement with our back extensors and our trunk extensors in the front. So that's the first part of our core. And then any sort of rotation or anti-rotation with these slings. So that's what we're going to work on today. Like I said, it's a core burner. I'm super excited for you guys. And just pop any questions that you have, pop them in the chat so that I can reply to them after. And I'll stay on and talk for a while and answer questions as needed. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit first before we get on about what happens when we're riding. So I'm going to sit on this saddle, and I want you to think about your horse going around to the left. So what happens is that your body wants to keep going straight, right? So physics tells us that that the force of going around a circle is because your body wants to keep going in a straight line, but whatever the vehicle is moving around in a circle. So that means that your hips are locked to the saddle, attached to the horse, but your upper body wants to keep going straight. So because of that, you have this rotational force where you have to resist. If we're going to the left, you have to resist and bring your left shoulder forward. And then there's a force that's going to be pushing you to the outside of the circle. We've all felt that. And so you are resisting that by stepping into your right stirrup, but also with your core muscles on your inner thigh on the left. So remember how we said those slings: right shoulder, left leg. Where we can get into some trouble is if we aren't using that sling and instead we're using all of our weight into our outside stirrup. Then what happens is that we're off balance to the left and the horse is kind of just like slinging us out. That's slowing the horse down, and it's also causing us to not be able to cue with this leg. So watch me if I put all my weight on this outside right leg. I cannot cue with that leg. I'm trying to pull it in to cue my horse, and I can't. Whereas if I'm centered like this, I can contract my core muscles, hold myself here, and I can cue that horse with my left leg. So if you have a horse that pops off of a barrel, you may be putting too much weight in that outside stirrup, and you might be unable to use your leg to get him to come around to the barrel. Now you can use this leg in whatever position you want if your core is back, right? So you can bring their hind end around. If you bring your foot back just a hair, you can bring the whole body around if you keep it down in the neutral position. So just wanted to explain that because I think it's important for people to know where that stability actually comes from in a really powerful barrel racing turn. Okay, so the first one we're gonna do here is kind of a little warm-up exercise, and then you can make it as difficult as you want. So you're gonna start in this tabletop position. The most important thing is you pull your belly button into your spine and flatten your back here. You're gonna hold that position throughout the whole exercise this morning. So pull your belly button into your spine. Breathe out as you lower one leg down and back up. And then the other side. If done right, that should be challenging. But if you're in incredible shape, if you're like one of our compete riders and you're you've been doing this for the last 8 weeks, feel free to lower your leg all the way to where it's just hovering above the ground and then back up. So we'll just do 5 on each side. All right. Now the next one is one of my favorite exercises for barrel racers. You'll see this in a lot of my programs because it's super, super important. This is also one of my warm-up exercises. Stagger your feet so that your top leg is just a little bit in front of your bottom leg, and come up into a side plank here. Now you're gonna rotate your top arm underneath you as far as you can go and back up. We'll do 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and now we're going to the plank reaches. So this is really directing or directed at that anterior sling that we talked about. So if you do nothing more than these exercises, your barrel racing will improve. Of course, I do recommend doing more. Okay, if you need to, you can start from your knees. You're going to get in a plank position here, and we'll do 5 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now we're gonna do a little different. We're gonna try to loosen or free up our legs. So stabilize with our upper body and our core and move our legs out to the side. So we're gonna tap our feet left or right and left in a plank position. Same thing, you can do this from your knees and do knee taps if you need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you should be able to do that without your hips moving a lot. We really want to focus on stability there. All right, and we're just going to go right back to the beginning. So going back to the beginning, we're going to do the lowers. If you feel like you can progress yourself a little bit more to maybe do some of those the hovers over the ground, feel free to do that. All right, so here we'll do 5 on each side. 1, 2, keep your back flat. 3, 4, and 5. All right, side plank rotations. Stagger your feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, other side. And this one you can do from your knees too if that's too difficult. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, going to the plank reaches. So again, you can do this from your knees if it's too difficult. Coming up. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, take a little rest, and we'll go to the plank step outs or plank toe taps. So those are going to be, again, getting your body to stabilize on one side while you cue with one leg and vice versa. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, nice work. So we're going to take just a little bit of a break before we go to the third set. And I just want to talk about one more thing. So if you feel like you have a long torso in relation to your legs, this is so important. You need to be able to have this stability because you affect your horse more leaning side to side than someone with a really short torso. So you don't want to have to lean into the circle to avoid that outward force. You want your core muscles to stabilize to keep you centered so that you're not throwing your horse off balance. Where this comes into play is on bad ground, especially because if your horse is trying to get their feet under them on bad ground, but you're leaning a little bit in to avoid that outside force, then you're pulling their center of gravity in toward the barrel, and that's going to make it easier for them to slip out from underneath themselves. So really pay attention to this if you have a horse with kind of that style, or if you're on bad ground. All right, we're going to go back to the lowers. Same thing. Make it as easy or as hard as you need to. So if you want to start here with the heel drops, you absolutely can. If you're, like I said, one of our compete riders and you've been doing core exercises for the last 8 weeks, then feel free to lower all the way straight. All right, we go into the side plank rotations. Two, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, plank reaches. 2, 3, don't hold your breath. 4, 5. So when you're doing these exercises, breathing out on the effortful movement is how you're going to get the power. So not holding your breath, that's going to raise your blood pressure too high, but just doing a really nice breathe out through your through pursed lips like this, and that'll help you generate that intra-abdominal pressure. Okay, last exercise, plank taps. All right, so there is 5 on each side. Now, for some of you, like I said, that one, if you've been one of our compete riders, that exercise probably wasn't that bad for you. But if you're just starting out, maybe you had some burning, and that's good. That means that you're activating those muscles. So if you're at level 1 fitness, I'd recommend our 6 weeks to solid in the saddle program, level 2 ride strong, and level 3 compete. So if you're a competitor, especially if you're barrel racing like every weekend or every week, I do recommend compete. That exercise program is very, very anterior, posterior sling heavy because it is designed for competitors, and then has that reaction time. So agility twice a week. Ride Strong has agility twice a week as well, but it is more geared for people who have horses that spook and maybe a little bit of barrel racing, but it's certainly not as intense as compete. We are starting our fall fitness series on September 1st with 6 weeks to solid in the saddle. So that one will be the next class or next course that we go through as a group. But starting on August 3rd, we are going to go through as a group with a course called Restore. So at this point in the year, I know a lot of you guys are burnt out. You're burnt out because you're driving so much. You may or may not be having success that you wanted in the arena, but your bodies need a little break. So you don't need more workouts. You need more rest for your body. So this course has how to optimize and reset your nervous system. So lots of breathing techniques, meditation, mindfulness, metabolic health. We'll talk a lot about that. We'll talk about optimizing sleep. We'll talk about some nervous system regulation techniques like EFT tapping, which is kind of a crazy thing, but you guys will love it. But basically that course is going to be a 4-week course where you can just go through and let your body heal and make it through the end of the season without losing kind of that motivation to get through the end of the season. And I've talked about this before with my retreat riders and even my compete riders, is I got so burnt out the year that I pro rodeoed by this point in the year because I was so sleep deprived and just all those miles in the car and everything like that. And so this course is really designed to combat that, because I think if you can keep yourself from burning out, you have a huge advantage over the rest of the competitors that are still beating the road. They're, it's not just our horses that get tired this time of year, it's us too. So super excited to have that course coming on starting August 3rd. So if you're interested in it, just shoot us a message and we'll get you rolling with it. So I think that is it for this morning. Feel free to watch this as many times as you want, and I can't wait to see you guys for the next one. We'll see when I can get another one scheduled, and we'll talk to you guys later.